But first, you need me to do you a favor?
You read my mind. I can only deduce you've been taking my tonic, sir, as instructed. It can give the most ordinary of intelligences a remarkable insight.
I'll give you insight. I'll show you what your guts look like.
The alliance and interesting partnership between Nigel West Dickens and John Marston is one equally out of necessity as it is out of John's own irritation. Nigel West Dickens is the consummate con artist selling what he deems as miracle cures, claiming his elixirs could cure any ailment anyone could think of. Literally, just listen to his sales pitch.
I represent the only company that makes the genuine article that cures headaches, neuralgia, earache, toothaches, backache, swelling, sprains, sore chests, swelling of the throats, contracted cords and muscles, anxieties and ravaged nerves, stiff joints, wrenches, dislocations, cuts and bruises, and it adds vitality and vigor to the healthy man.
And I'm sure all that is just scratching the surface. Nigel is the epitome of what you would think of when the images of a charlatan snake oil salesman comes to mind. But that's not to say he did not have his uses. Thanks to the very nature of the business he conducts, regardless of how dubious, it was thanks to Nigel's vast connections and knowledge of people in areas that he's traveled so much in that he was able to help John Marston meet Irish and Seth Briers. With this trio, they were able to set the groundwork for taking down the infamous Bill Wlliamson gang that is tormenting the local area of New Austin. Now, for those that have not played the first game, to oversimplify the situation, John's family is being held captive by the Bureau of Investigation, and in order to get his family back, along with hopefully acquiring his place within society, pardoning him of all his crimes and basically his entire past life when he was running with the Vanderlyn gang, he must now apprehend every single one of his former brothers in arms that all ran underneath Dutch. Bill, as incompetent as many of the gang's members originally saw him as, was apparently more capable than any of his peers originally gave him credit for, taking over the abandoned Fort Mercer and utilizing it as a headquarters for his own gang, creatively known as the Wlliamson gang. John originally tried to single-handedly brute force his way into the fort and take Bill into custody, but when that failed, he had to establish connections, make allies, and approach the fort with a more feasible plan, one that wasn't as suicidal. Enter his partnership with Mr. West Dickens. Now, it wasn't immediate that Nigel would be of any use at all to John, though. John had found him on the side of the road bleeding to death after he had some run-ins with local outlaws upset with the lies and garbage he was peddling. Maybe it was a mixture of curiosity and finding it worthwhile to pursue any kind of aid he could receive, but John decided to hear him out, going along with a new con he had, which was trying to sell some miracle cure to some locals out in Ridgewood Farm. And so began what appeared to be Nigel wasting John's time and patience in a spectacular way. Or at least that's the way John saw it. Nigel was flat out broke and used John as a plant to help him push his own elixirs and compete in races that would basically all serve as proof that Mr. Dickens' miracle cure was indeed real. It was under their influence John was able to defeat a man in a duel, shooting the pistol out of his hand with amazing accuracy and swiftness, and then going on to defeat many other skilled racers based off the split decision-making required for becoming first place. John was undoubtedly valuable to Mr. West Dickens' whole operation, and whether if he wanted to admit it or not, Nigel pushing John towards the direction of enlisting Irish and Seth were quite vital elements of breaking into Fort Mercer. Irish, although attempting to leave John multiple times to essentially just get killed, despite John even saving his life, and then Seth attempting to cut John out of a supposed fortune he was after.
That's quite a stint.
Hey, Seth! Seth, come back here.
Oh, hey, partner. I was just looking for you.
Looking for me, what? Over there?
How you doing?
I'm good.
You can't deny the trio were kind of a match made in hell, but they worked. Irish procured a Gatling gun, or I should really say knew where John could procure a Gatling gun. Seth was able to open the doors of Fort Mercer without arousing suspicion, as he was familiar to the Wlliamson gang, and Nigel himself went on to fit the stagecoach with the Gatling gun, allowing John to sneak in under his Trojan horse idea and unleash a swift death upon everyone inside. Nigel not only converted his stagecoach and helped John get inside concealed within the stagecoach, but this all was his entire plan. As shoddy as it might have seemed from time to time, this was his vision. John originally tried the brute force idea, which failed, resulting in him almost getting killed, and it was Nigel that suggested a more delicate approach. To the credit of John's impatience and irritation, though, every time he met Nigel, there was a new plan, a new con, a new idea. Nigel's priorities definitely were of a greater significance than actually helping John. That took a back seat, which was pushed even further whenever John had to help fend off some angry customers of his.
Toothache, earache, backache, swelling.
This man is a fucking charlatan. He just got done swindling us down at Cho Springs with this song and dance.
I say we tar and feather him right now.
I say we shoot the
I
bastard.
think it's time we take our business elsewhere.
But it does go to show just how intelligent Nigel really was, an intelligence that's frankly overshadowed by him being branded as a regular old charlatan. A regular old charlatan that's so jolly, optimistic, and at times a little naive. His personality is such a direct contrast to John's. He's a breath of fresh air, which also plays a little bit more into him feeling more like a larger-than-life type of character, which makes him a little more intriguing because Nigel at one point does say he had a family. It said he had a wife and son who died not too long after birth. He also stated he would never be shackled to any woman ever again, claiming that his wife was too demanding. The last time we canonically see Nigel, he's being arrested in Blackwater for selling narcotics. And he's only freed when John tells Edgar Ross he helped him apprehend Bill Wlliamson. Now, unfortunately, we never see or hear from the great Nigel West Dickens and his miracle cures ever again. Sure, we see him in the Undead Nightmare. John, during this DLC, isn't as willing to help Mr. Dickens take advantage of the people so terrified of the zombie outbreak. They're more than willing to buy into his latest cure that'll keep them immune to the zombie outbreak, which falls apart very quickly.
Works like a charm.
Well, it wasn't quite what I expected.
Nigel also helps John construct the blunderbuss, in some ways continuing his usefulness into that DLC. But as per everything else Nigel does, John is unimpressed with it. Seeing this DLC isn't canonical and Mr. Dickens doesn't return in Red Dead Redemption 2, his name, similar to many other characters, are on a list of colorful personalities and interesting backstories that hopefully Rockstar will one day revisit and add to. But that's the story of Nigel West Dickens so far, the snake oil salesman that betrayed a pretty high level of intelligence and usefulness to John and taking over Fort Mercer from the infamous Wlliamson gang, and really helping out the entire region. I think the conversation between Marshall Lee Johnson of Armadillo and his deputy Eli summarized the back and forth relationship between Nigel and the good and bad that he does for the local population.
Mr. West Dickens, the tonics merchant. He was due in town last week.
Oh, the narcotic and bat piss salesman. Who cons housewives out of their money with promises of eternal youth.
Yes, him, but I think you're being a little unfair. He's helped a great many of the county, and many of the townsfolk are really missing him.
That's gonna wrap it up for this video. Like always, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think, if there's anything I missed or anyone else you want me to cover in the entirety of the Red Dead universe, not strictly just Red Dead Redemption 2 or even the first game. But until next time, I'll see you all later.